Hey guys, this is Diana Ballard, and welcome to the Mom Training Podcast, where we discuss the skills and strategies to create possibilities in motherhood and make it more fun, efficient, organized, and peaceful. You can find more information or connect with me online at dianaballard.com or at Diana Ballard Live on social media. Do our words have power, or are they just words? Have we really looked at what we're saying? What if our words and what we say are affecting us and creating our reality? After a busy day, right before bed, my daughter spilt a whole freshly poured cup of milk all over Daddy's desk and the floor. Of course, my reaction was in shock, like, oh, come on. Like, milk is so stinky on carpet if it's not carefully cleaned up. But her response is what stopped me. She said, "I'm never going to be a good girl." Good grief, where did that come from? Never once has that ever been said to her. I mean, yeah, we've been working on boundaries, listening and following directions with her little self, but I never thought that it was making her think that she wasn't a good little girl because she was learning new things and struggling with some of them. I immediately changed my perspective about the spilled milk to explain that we all make mistakes and it's okay, and we just clean up the messes we make. And that it doesn't make us bad people. I gave her extra love, encouragement, and edifying her and sent her off to bed. Not soon after, I decided to pick up a book and read some of it. I happened to flip to a chapter called Self-Fulfilling Prophecies, or The Words We Use Us. The chapter talks about how we need to be careful what we say, for it can create the world around us, creating beliefs about ourselves, people, and situations that we are in. I know for me, I have to be super careful what I say to myself or speak to someone else about, for it directly affects me in either a positive or negative way, depending on what I said. As I first was reading, I decided to focus on my own mouth and speak positive things over my life, and really contemplating what I was saying daily and how my words I spoke were creating my world around me, and I could see that a couple things that I was saying was really slipping me up. But then I realized that reading this chapter was not just about my words and what my words were creating in my life, but this was a time I was to teach an important lesson to my daughter as well about the power of her words and how important it is to speak life and positive things over ourselves each day. So when I talked to her, I expressed my concern for the things she was saying about herself and how powerful words can be. We then ended by saying 5 positive things about ourselves. Hers was along the lines of being loved, being a good little girl, being happy, etc. Mine had to do with feeling really good, being happy, and loving my family. An exercise I will try and remember to work on. Because I don't know about you, but a lot of my own beliefs began really early and continued for a long time. So if I can help at all to teach my children to choose their words wisely, especially with themselves and with others, then I'm going to do it. So let's take a deeper look at ourselves and see what we might be saying that we need to change. For example, in the book, it gives a direct quote of, if a person is always saying, "I'm sick and tired of," they shouldn't be surprised if they are tired and sick a lot of the time. This really opened my eyes to something I've been saying and focusing on. So, being pregnancy sick, I realized I had been saying how sick I was continually to people as they would ask me about how my pregnancy was going. Then after reading this chapter, I decided to start saying out loud to myself, "I feel really good. I'm over the hump of morning sickness and I feel excellent." I do. I'm not even kidding. The next day, the sickness was done and I kept saying, "I feel great. I can't believe how excellent I feel." For me, my body and the way that I feel is directly connected to what I say. And I forget that sometimes. But in practicing the power of our words and their effect on us, we can see the results and see how things change pretty quickly. But over time, I've had to practice the power of my words and their effect on me, because they affect me a lot. So I really can see how things change pretty quickly when I'm aware of it. So I invite you to try it. Is there something that you're struggling with or complain about often? What if you tried changing the way you spoke and things changed around you? Or if your perspective changed and that made the moment more doable? What 5 things could you start saying that could change from complaining to positive? It will take practice to change the way we speak, but with time, we'll be able to see the results that come from the power of our words. And we can start teaching our kids how important it is. An idea is to have them think of 5 things themselves about their life and their surroundings that are positive and true. It's remembering that people make mistakes, us and our children. So just because we're struggling in some area doesn't make us less or a bad person. We need to remember not to put ourselves, spouse, and our children in a box or define them by the mistakes they make or struggle with. So going back to my daughter, I realized, man, I gotta help her nip this belief in the butt before it takes root and influences her beyond this moment. As parents, we don't always have control of what our children think or believe. But you bet we can do the best we can to help mold their mindsets and ways of thinking that will bring them success and happiness in their life. And in teaching them to speak positively about themselves, it will bleed out into the world around them, their future families, people they interact with, whatever. It's such an important concept and skill to learn and practice. And a lot of times, we as parents need just as much help with our beliefs and what we say, that it can be challenging to help someone else with their mindset. So as we start with ourselves first, we will then be able to help our loved ones as well. So let's really think about what we're saying and how it can be influencing our life and the people around us, and especially what we may be saying to our children or loved ones that could be planting seeds of negative belief about themselves. Because our inner dialogue comes from somewhere, right? So let's help mold our little ones' minds and feelings about themselves and life by saying nice things to them, not calling them names of labeling them as something when they make a mistake. Let's give them the same respect and love that we hope to receive when we are learning, growing, and making mistakes, and also do the same for ourselves. Speak kindness and things that will make our life more enriched instead of pulling people down. So let's think about this today and make some changes. I know as we practice, it will benefit our life and change things for the better. Hit subscribe, and I'll see you next week on the Mom Training Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning into the Mom Training Podcast. If you liked what you heard, I would so appreciate a rating and review from you on any platform you listen to this on. If you have any questions or podcast ideas, you can message me on my social media at Diana Ballard Live or shoot me an email on my website. See you next week.